James Brown felt good, and we feel great to have reached episode 8 of Oh You Didn't Know. 2 weeks ago, we talked about when the Roadie was created, but today we talk about when that initial run was terminated, because the Roadie walked out of WWF, and believe me, the world has questions. Dogg, what's up? How you doing? We're in the doghouse.
I feel good. Like I knew that I would. No. So good. So nice. 'Cause I got in you. Okay, I am feeling good. I love James Brown. I love you, Ryan Katz, and the fact that you brought up James Brown.
Spreading the love.
Yes. Hey, so I do want to say something. About a week or two ago, I was on Busted Open Radio, and I said something about Phoney, Boloney wrestling. Now, look, if you've heard the last day of the episodes, you might have heard that before come out of my mouth. I don't mean that. I want to clear some things up because some people reached out to me. I always preface it or follow it up with, hey, I love this industry with all my heart and all my, I've sacrificed so much for it, and so has my family and my father before me, and so yes, I love it. I have said, though, Phoney Boloney wrestling, because it's, comparable to my grandchildren, to my children, to my wife, to my, my family members, like comparable to that, it is just wrestling. And so that's what I mean when I say that. I don't mean to disparage the industry that's put food on my table literally until the moment we're speaking right now, So I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Look, I love the industry with all my heart, and I'll live and die pro wrestling, but compared to things in real life, it's just not that important. So I kind of wanted to cover that real quick, Ryan, and I'm sorry I took us down a weird path there.
It's still real to me, dog.
Well, and it's real to me too, but that's one of the things that I had to tell myself, especially when I was writing the show, was it's not, if somebody above me, the studio, we'll call them, if the studio changes the script, it's not the end of the world. Because at some times I thought it was, and it only stressed me out, and it really didn't matter in the big picture of things. Yes, a couple of people may have tweeted bad, your creative sucks or whatever, but in the big scope, it didn't mean much. And so I would tell myself that to keep my feet on the ground, but also to not over commit, not get married to my creative, I guess, and not let it hinder my day one way or the other. So anyway, again, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry, but we'll probably actually end up getting into some details of some of these creative differences. But let's also remember that it's easy to look back in hindsight and with maturity and growth and go, oh, maybe I should have been a different way or looked at it a different way. But when you are caught in the situation, it is real to you. It is your life, your career. There is something that gives you that little extra push that makes you maybe push some buttons and try to cross the boundaries of things you maybe shouldn't do, but in your mind think that you could.
Yeah. And look, it's I just, it's a really good living, and it doesn't last forever, and so don't mess it up over creative decisions. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. That's my whole point. You can have a really good life and a really good career, but if you get caught up in it, it's not fun in your own head. And I feel like that's what... Anyway, I don't want to harp on it. Let's get rolling, man. I just wanted to say that to kind of...
It's like a very dramatic episode of Oh You Didn't Know. We're getting serious. Because someone may have problems with creatives. All right, this episode of Oh You Didn't Know...
That was going to go really cool. We're going to come back to that. Go ahead, Ryan. We're coming back to that.
We're coming back. This episode of Oh You Didn't Know is brought to you by some great sponsors you'll hear from later, but let us remind you now that you can always save with Conrad, get Goliath coverage on your life insurance, and in the world of pro wrestling, a beer and aspirin can increase blood flow. But here on Oh You Didn't Know, we remind you that increased blood flow comes from going to BlueChew.com. With that said, let's get down to the business, if you will. And
SWC, we're saving with Conrad as we speak. Here we go.
Let's talk about you leaving World Wrestling Federation in 1995 and everything you were doing after the Rumble.
So first, let me set this up a little bit by saying wait, you mean 7 months, 8 months after while I was getting the biggest break in my career ever, and I just walked away from it all? Is that the period of time you're talking about?
That's the time we're talking about. And everyone goes, how can you give it up?
Well, I didn't have it long enough to know what I was giving up, to be quite honest with you. But look, it was a crazy time, and we'll get into we'll get granular. I'll use a Jeff Jarrett word since we're going to speak about Jeff Jarrett a lot. We'll get granular in all the decision makings and all of that, and the action and all that. But I didn't know what I was doing, and I knew me and Jeff had a great thing going, and Jeff wasn't happy, and so I said, I'm with you, man. And he said, you don't have to be, bro. You can stay right here and keep doing your thing. He was very honest with me, and this was all going down in the middle of the ring in '95 in Nashville in your house. He's literally, I'm leaning over him, and he's going, you don't have to do this with me. And I had no idea what I was doing, so I said, yes, I do. And here we went.
A man of honor and loyalty to what he was a part of.
Yeah, to a fault.
All right, we left a couple of weeks back when we discussed your debut, talking about Jeff winning the Intercontinental title from Razor, and then you now appearing on the road with Jeff at the house shows. Talking about taking your time and enjoying the ride and going the flow is what we were talking about on that episode. But were you really getting eager to get into the ring and start wrestling?
So, look, I thought about this a lot today. No, I wasn't. I wasn't eager to get in there and wrestle. Look, did I think I could hold my own? I wasn't good. I know I wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. Good, maybe I teetered on good, but mediocre at best. So I was fine with the role I was playing. There wasn't a whole lot of responsibility, but the responsibilities I did have were crucial, and the timing was important. So it was really fun for me. And we're going to talk about that great tag match we had. We've talked about it on the podcast before. But just I was having so much fun. Like, I didn't want to wrestle full time. I didn't want to start doing that because then I knew I'd be doing that. You know what I mean? So no, I was having a really good time, and I didn't want to step in the ring anytime soon. But fate had other plans.
Between the Rumble and WrestleMania, Jeff is sometimes defending the IC title against Razor, and you always jump in to cost Razor winning the title back, and then he leaves you laying with the Razor's Edge afterwards. There's matches in Hershey, Montreal, Indianapolis, Chicago. Does repeating the finish help with fine-tuning the refinement of reactions, or does it become monotonous when you got to get hoisted up in that Razor's Edge?
Well, for me, it was also a really good time. It was prior to a really good time, but it was for me, man. I was just happy to be in there, but it did hurt. Like, that Razor's Edge hurt. Like the Jeff Diesel's jackknife, like, it's a power bomb, yeah, and everybody can take one, but man, it's from 7 feet in the air. So it was. But that was the deal, right? Jeff, the heel was the champ. The heel couldn't beat the babyface in the live event or even on the TV show. So you got to do something. And me, him being about to beat Jeff and me pulling. I think what it was he would get Jeff up for the Razor's Edge. I would slide in and pull Jeff down, attack him. Jeff would roll out. I'd go to shoot him. He'd reverse it, kick me in the gut, just jack me up, put me down. You got to give him something. And if it's a non-finish, send them home happy. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened I was the guy that was going to take those bumps to send them home happy. I had cheated throughout the match. I had built up that heat, you know what I mean? Then when I caused the DQ, there was some more heat. They wanted him to see me drop me on my head, and so he obliged.
So in my career, I've taken some big bumps. I've been tossed off a 30-foot tower. I have taken power bombs.
Did you say you've been tossed off? I'm sorry. I thought this was a Blue Chew promotion. I didn't know what we were doing.
I've had a lot of big, crazy bumps, and the Razor's Edge just always scared me, man. Yeah. Choke slams, power bombs, I'd take them all day, every day.
You know what? There's a thing with a choke slam, with a power bomb. It's up and it's down. And with Razor's Edge, it was that way. It was a 45-degree angle towards the mat instead of 90 degrees straight down where you can take a flat back bump. With this one, you ended up landing on your coccyx, and so far we've said coccyx and tossed off and Blue Chew. The promo code is DOGG, by the way. No, make them wait for it. Make them wait for it, baby. But yeah, so it's different. It's a different kind of bump, and sometimes you would rat-tat-tat till your head hits the mother grabbing flow.
Yeah.
And what is you messing with the brother foe?
But yeah,
so it's just a different bump. You know what I mean? A different style bump.
Is being on the road with the WWF a whole different world than when you were doing shows with USWA and Smoky Mountain tours?
Yes, but the difference is on this one in the WWF we could eat food. The other one you could.
And that's because you're saving your money at that point.
You just had enough money for drugs, Ryan. You don't have all this extra for food and stuff.
All right, I'm going to push right past that one. Jeff is also going up against Diesel, and you're talking about that. So now we're talking all these. You kind of just got through all those big bumps. Reputation in WWF that there's very hard rings. And then in my time, when I got there, realizing not just the frames being harder and meant for bigger dudes, like having the multiple canvases on that ring makes them tough to take some bumps in.
And so if you were there in 95 or prior, it probably happened in about 96, I'm thinking, that all the rings and the construction of said rings switched over. And I don't know if it was Cornette or somebody gave them the structure and the idea to build a ring that bumped better. But man, when I'm taking all these bumps that we're talking about, the Razor's Edge and the power bomb from Kevin Nash, those rings were set up for Yokozuna to take a bump in. You know what I mean? They were hard as the floor, and so it was it was rough on me for a while there. But look, I was in main events. I was in semi-main events. I was involved in the match. I was living my best life, man. And truth be told, we weren't making a ton of money, but it was to me because I came from the Marine Corps, then from doing jobs at WCW. Now I'm making a little money. And man, now I'm having fun in the business that I was born to do, or I wanted to do, since I was born.
So you're taking those jackknives and Razor's Edges. Are there any moves that you're generally just like, heck no, I don't want any part of it?
So, yeah, there's actually a lot of them, and some of them don't feel bad at all. Like one of them's a backdrop. Like I took like 2 backdrops in my career, and one of them was from the Rock and Roll Express, and my feet hit the top rope on the other side of the ring, and I landed on the back of my head. And I thought, yeah, I won't do that again. And so, but look, there's a lot of things like I didn't want to take. But some of like I'll never forget in the dumpster match. I was supposed to be up there with I think it was Mick when we got pushed over and went down into the dumpster. I climbed up there during the rehearsal and I said, yeah, I'm not doing that. It looked really high. And I thought, I'm going to go over the top rope and I'm going to hit that metal part over there and I'm going to kill myself. Like, I didn't want to do it. And Billy was like, blah, blah, blah. He called me all kind of words and I deserved them, I guess. But then he was on all the highlight reels, and I was like, oh, I should have done that one. But yeah, so look, it's not
regret.
Yeah.
Regret of not killing yourself, even though you still attempted to do so.
Yeah. But so there was a lot of stuff I was afraid to do, and I'm not afraid to say that either, by the way.
All right, I know I'm taking us off track, but what's your favorite finisher ever to watch? Not to watch, just as a fan.
Man, there's so many good ones. And you know what I don't? So this is a difficult question, really, because I know I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to think like, oh, that other one was better. But do you remember Stan Stasiak and the Heart Punch?
Yeah, I mean, when it was banned in certain states.
Yeah. Like I always thought, like, does he just almost kill the guy? He punched him in the heart, and did it make his heart stop or something? Yeah, like that was always the coolest thing to me. But look, I'll also never forget. So let me backtrack a little bit. I don't like submissions in a match. Look, I say I don't like submissions. That's a blanket statement. I've seen
how to utilize them for story purposes.
I've seen submissions end a match where I thought that was awesome. So I don't want to say I don't like submissions, but I like boom, a big impact finish. Look, I love all the spears. Rhino, Edge, Roman, you know what I mean? Like everybody's got a pretty good spear. Charlotte's got a good spear. So I think there's a bunch of finishes out there that are cool, but I always like the ones that were weird. And I want to say this, whatever you do to beat people with, if you beat people on TV with that, that's your finish. I remember Lord Tensai, when he first showed up, Matt Bloom, he was going to use the Asiatic spike for the finish. And Hunter came to me and said, hey, man, you think that'll work as a finish? I said, if he beats people on TV with it, it will. I mean, because that's the truth. You'll go like, I don't know. You know, you've seen Bray Wyatt do similar stuff, and you believe it. So if you beat people and people see you get, beating people with this move, that's your finish, and they don't kick out of it for a while. You know what I mean?
You say like stupid unusual or stupid finishes in that sense too. My favorite, and it was a submission, but Doink stump puller, because you can walk up to your friend and and get over their head and grab their leg and they just start screaming. You're like, yeah, it's fake, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a good one. Look, there's a ton of good, Hell's Gate or whatever that Taker used.
Yep.
I thought there were some good submissions. That what I love about it, if you have a submission finish, you can utilize that in your match and work to it, work from it. You know what I mean, and all that stuff. So that's really cool. Like I said, it was a blanket statement. I don't like submissions. I just like for my finish to be a big, impactful move. 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 music play. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts.
I took us off on a tangent, so I'll bring the trajectory back on course. What's it like rubbing elbows with the significant players? Guys like Diesel and Bret Hart, Razor, and even Vince McMahon at this point of your career.
Yeah. Well, the truth of it was, and again, this is, I got in the business because of my family. I got no qualms in saying that. Kevin Nash was Brad's friend, so Kevin Nash was my friend. I'd already met Hunter in WCW. Now he's up there, so we're friends. X-Pac I had met now here for the first time. Actually, we're going to talk about that in a little while. But like Scott Hall knew Brad really well, and my brother Steve really well from Japan. So all these guys were kind of my friends. And so it wasn't like I was rubbing elbows with superstars. It was like I was playing wrestler with my friends. And anybody who's ever done any backyard stuff knows that's the best thing ever. You know what I mean? Yep. We just didn't do it on a trampoline in old man Kelsey's backyard. We did it at the Hartford Civic Center. You know what I mean? In front of 15,000 plus. But we, it wasn't rubbing elbows in my mind at the time. In retrospect, sure, I was rubbing elbows with some of the biggest stars in the company at the time, and getting to learn from them at the same time. So yeah, very beneficial for me, and I had a blast.
All right, you're ringside for a bunch of Jarrett and Shawn Michaels versus Diesel and Razor matches in the lead up to WrestleMania, including in Toronto, Madison Square Garden, Boston, and San Antonio. Do you have any stories or memories that you can recall, either of being on the road with those guys or when at ringside during those matches? Yeah,
a little bit of both. Look, that's the match. If I'm talking about the most fun and creative I've ever felt or had in a wrestling match, those matches were some of them. Maybe the one, you know what I mean? Because not only where I get to play and wrestle with my friends, but we're doing it on a grand stage, and we're doing it to pop each other and to have a good time. And so, look, at that match was awesome. So we all said, hey, we should do this around the loop, and then they put it on around the loop. But so one time when we were first putting it together, and look, we perfected it over a period of time too. We had done it so many times, it was like, hey, that didn't work, this works, let's try this tomorrow night, whatever. So at one point, the heels, Jeff and Shawn, go out of the ring on one side of the ring. The baby faces are in the ring, facing down at them on the floor. Well, my job was to pop up and get the babyface's attention. When they start to come to me, I drop down off the apron, the heels slide in, bing, bang, boom, Bob's your uncle. So I go, hey, I'll just pop up on the apron there and I'll get y'all's attention. And they were like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, don't worry about it. I'll get your attention. And at this time, I'm having fun, right? And so I thought, like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do over there on the apron to get their attention. So I don't know if you've ever seen Three Amigos, where they climb up on the fence, and then the last one is still down there, and they're going, look up here, look up here. finally he goes, "Hey, look up here." So when I popped up on the apron, I did like the Moe and Curly shuffle, like kicking my foot backwards and screaming, "Look up here, look up here, look up here." So it was literally called the look up here spot. The look up here.
I like it.
Yeah, it was the look up here spot. And I every night they would turn around and they would just shoot pop, and then they would start walking at me and inside the heels, bang, double shoot, reverse. Here they go again. You know what I mean? It was just a really fun match and really fun guys to
having
be doing
fun
it
with your friends.
Yes, amen.
Was there any anything specific you remember picking up and learning from them that you were able to then take through your career, whether that be advice, technique, and anything of the sort?
Yeah, 100%. And look, I'm sure I can't sit here and name them all, but lessons from Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall and Jeff Jarrett, for that matter, because they'd all had Kevin, they'd all had experience that I didn't have. And so just listening to them every night. But I think the main thing was probably an unwritten or unspoken rule is just be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And if you're not, they're going to get in your butt. You know what I mean? Like, it was because that's why they were who they were. They were perfectionists, and we want to get this as close to perfect as we can, and then we want to take it around the loop, and it'll be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We'll know what to do and when to do it. So, yeah, we had a great time forming that match. Like I said, it evolved, and boy, by the end of it, it was smooth sailing and good pops in good places.
Amazing. As an outsider, the build, hype, and spectacle that is WrestleMania is what it's all about. It's huge. Goliath, just like the coverage you can get from Goliath Life Insurance. And speaking of Goliath, let's take a minute to listen from them, to hear some words from them, and then we'll come back and talk about your feelings about the build-up to your first WrestleMania.
Psst. Who's going to take care of your family if something happens to you? What would they do without your income? If you don't have a plan, you need to go to GoliathLife.com. Get a quick quote from more than 20 carriers. You don't even have to leave the house. If you need a medical exam, they'll send somebody to your house or office. You're in total control. You pick the rates, you pick the payments, you pick the terms. You're in total control, but it gives you and your family peace of mind. What if something happens to your income? Hurry to GoliathLife.com.
Okay, we're back, and the Mania match is set to have you in the corner of Jeff Jarrett for his Intercontinental title defense against Razor Ramon, who will have 1-2-3 Kid Sean Waltman in his corner. What is it like for you being a part of your first build to WrestleMania?
Well, so look, if I tell you anything other than I didn't have a clue the gravity of the situation. I was having a great time. Me and Kid had known each other now for like 6 months, and we had really become good friends. So this was me and him going to be out there. At the end of this Mania match, he hit Jeff with a spin kick that busted Jeff's nose all over his face, and Jeff was bleeding, and we went out of there selling, and it was great, man. That was a great time because look, Jeff and Razor had a great match too, and with me and Kid on the outside to just chime in when we needed to, and then at the finish, of course. Just made it all that much better. But like, look, we did this match everywhere and a million times, and so we knew what to do and when to do it, and it was a night off.
As a part of the build-up for WrestleMania 11, you had a lot of NFL players involved, with Lawrence Taylor taking part of the event in the main event against Bam Bam Bigelow. Do you have any favorite stories during this time of interacting either with LT or any of the other NFL players?
Yeah, LT was the only one that I ever actually interacted with. Lawrence Taylor was the only one I ever met with. The other guys kind of did some stuff off by themselves, but he was intense, man, and he was a great guy, and he was willing to do all of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was probably on about the same amount of cocaine as he was. I'm just not sure if we weighed it, if it would, how that would come out.
Oh, amazing. You're also used in a warm-up role at this point in time for some of the long Raw tapings. What do you remember of doing this, and whose idea was this?
So, look, I think we were kind of a hot item, so we would do the me and Jeff, or me versus somebody. But you know, it was easy to send Jeff out there with me and have a dark match or have a opening match or Coliseum home video, which we used to do back then. So look, it was also an opportunity to get me in the ring and working a little bit, which I didn't want to do, but I knew they were going to do it, so I thought maybe I should try to be good at this. So yeah, it was just an opportunity. I don't think it was anybody's big creative idea. It was just like, let's get the kid some reps and see what we got in him too, you know.
Through those reps, do you think that interaction with the crowd allows you to build that rapport connection and build for better reactions when you are then in the TV situation?
100%. Yeah. Because look, you try your stuff out and you go, okay, this is going to work. The wiggle knee, they pop for that a little bit, whatever. You know, you're going to figure it out when you're out there. But yeah, if you're not in front of a live crowd, then you have no idea how to wrestle for a live crowd. You know what I mean? And look, sometimes today, we have wrestlers that go out there and wrestle like a TV match at a live event crowd or something, you know, really fast and not taking the people's reactions into consideration. And that's the whole idea, man. If you're not doing it for them, if you're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the wrong person. I can tell you that much.
Dog, now there was a situation where for a year they were doing it for someone hitting audio buttons of crowd reactions and doing some good mixing jobs right there.
Yeah, they were. They were doing it. The studio was on fire.
I remember when that happened. One idea in my mind was I feel like they should have gotten a hot DJ to actually do the audio mix of shows.
Yeah, well, you know what? The guy kind of is like that. He's sitting back there, and he's really talented individual too, because he's working on and he knows what's going to get a pop and what's not, and so he's working. You know,
the difference from the first months of COVID and hearing the canned reactions to what you would hear. Let's be honest. Now sometimes is incredible how good they got in their craft and getting that audio mix to sound authentic.
Well, look, that's what, and you know, hate me again, but that's what WWE does. They do whatever the best is, that's what they do. And they're going to keep doing it until they are the best at it, and then they're going to be the measuring stick, and I feel like they are still. And I know AEW's got a good program, and they got a great talent and good storytelling and all that, and I enjoy their television show. But I feel like WWE's the measuring stick, and if you feel differently, then we just disagree, I guess.
No, agreed, and especially when you're talking about the production aspects of what go behind the show and the machine and how they make it run so seamlessly, or at least seem to be so seamlessly. Let me just give we talk about them trying to be the best. I'll tell you, WWE has a program to look at, a non-wrestling program as competition. Eurovision, the once-a-year Eurovision Song Contest.
Really?
It runs on Peacock right now. It ran a couple weeks ago. The production on this concert is amazing. And there's a lot of prep work involved, but the way they shoot it, you never see a crew member or a cameraman. They go in tight, they take drone shots, high jib shots.
Man.
You never see a cameraman. Everything it's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful television. And look, that's what I was gonna come back and say too. If you think the WWE is too polished and too perfect, I see that. There's a valid argument, but I think AEW could be more polished. And
little things that WWE did that AEW doesn't, and it's not picking on a product. It's giving little tips to hopefully make it better. Yeah. When wrestler A comes in and drops their gear on the entranceway, by the time wrestler B comes into the ring, that gear should be pulled away by someone off camera.
It's just little television stuff, and maybe that does. God Almighty, I'm beating the crap out of this microphone.
We're having an intense moment today.
I'm gonna eat it. I think it looks like a chocolate ice cream. It doesn't look like that at all. Chair shot and bong resin.
You want it right there.
And again, that was just tremendous. For everybody, this is from past bong resin. Chair shots and bong resin. That's why I'm not smart like you fellers.
Now it's just I won't even go into water vapor. All right, let's get back to the business. Your role with Jeff is what's known in the industry as a heater. For those that don't know, can you explain what that means and what the purpose of that role is?
Yeah. So look, and again, this is all subjective wrestling and terminology and all that is, it's evolved during the time. So I would consider a heater as being Diesel when he was with Shawn Michaels. I've considered myself more of a valet / manager / whatever. Like a heater to me seems like Raquel Gonzalez behind Dakota Kai. Seems like Kevin Nash. Like, that's a heater. But you know what they also say? A lot of guys today go, I'll get some heat on you, then you get some heat on me. And I'm thinking, well, no, only the heel gets heat on the babyface. The babyface shines up front. Like there's different terminology that people use. I'm a old school stickler for some of the terminology. I don't think I was a heater. I think I was like I said, a second, a valet, a manager. But definitely a guy on the outside that could take some bumps. Because, look, that's what I used to love, that, especially writing the show, not so much having the matches myself, but writing the show. I would always love to have, oh, man, we could have their partners out there on ringside because then you can get involved and it helps doing finishes. And you know what I mean? Like, I always love to have somebody extra out there that you can do something to when the time is right. And that's what I was. So, yeah, I would say his bumper more so than his heater.
No feeder. Heat, just cool, like the chocolate ice cream he talked about.
Oh,
look at that. It's like magical how that just showed up right there.
Wait, what is that?
Joe Belcastro gave this to me when he left WWE. And I think one of the wrestlers gave this to him as a gift. And I got some ice cream.
Well, that's what's it taste like? Don't taste it. Don't taste it.
All right.
Where were we at?
All right. We're at ringside for a Razor Ramon versus Henry Godwinn match for a Raw taping, and you're supposed to interfere, but it's been reported in the stories of history that the referee messed up the count and it had to be redone. When things like that happen, what's it like at ringside and then backstage after the match?
Well, so look, it's nerve-wracking when something doesn't go as planned out there, and I'll tell you why. People's bodies are on the line. There's 2 big men, maybe 4 big men, could be 6 or 10, to tell you the truth, but big men running at each other, and now they're lost mentally and don't know how to get back to where they needed to be to begin with, and so it gets a little chaotic out there. But if somebody can be the general and kind of stop everybody down and go, okay, do this and do that. And that's what happened there. Scott got us, but yeah, we had to do the thing over again. But accidents happen, and the referees in there, just like the talent is. Talent screws up all the time. Referees seldom do, but when they do, we get back on track. Excuse me, if they send you back, if you go all the way back and they send you back out there, that's embarrassing as far as the talent goes. But you didn't get it right. You got to get out there, and we're going to do it again until you get it right, and then we'll show that one on television, you know.
Now, in terms of your own career and then having the experience to have seen other people's career, do you feel that having those cluster F moments and things go wrong moments actually help the performer become a better wrestler to overcome in the future by learning from it?
100%. And listen, if you get some of these guys today off track a little bit, you may as well just hit the ring. You know what I mean? Hit the ring with a chair, because they just freeze and they don't know what to do. And so, if yes, 100%, it makes you a better performer. Things happen in almost every match that you either stumble into something good, or you fumble into something not so good, or you botch something, which is a made up silly word too, but we use it. You botched it. You know what I mean? Things happen in almost every match. It's how you can control. It's not what happens, but what you do in response. Does that make sense? It's not what happens with a mistake that's made. It's how you react to it and or respond to it. Hopefully you can respond to it and not react to it, but that's what a lot of guys do. I'll never forget, I was working in Germany with a guy named August Smeasel, and he was the Kung Fu champion of Germany, mind you. And he was a bodybuilder, and he was an Austrian strongman, and he was like a huge mountain of an Austrian man. We'd messed up a spot in our match, and he just grabbed me and started judo throwing me all over the ring, and all because he messed up, and he's so big and strong that I couldn't stop him from doing it. So I'm getting thrown around like a rag doll, and then I ended up running around the ring away from him to get away from him. But that he messed up and he didn't know what else to do. And I've been there too. Mess up and you go, oh God, what do I do now? Oh, I'll just hit the other guy really hard. Yeah, that helps. That helps everything. We're right back on track now. But interesting story about August Smeasel. You should look him up.
We will do a little research. Go to the YouTube. Go to the wiki. Do your homework. Come back to us next week with some questions. In the Go Home for Mania, you, Jeff, and Bob Backlund are doing a 3-on-1 against Razor. Can you tell us any good Bob Backlund stories?
Every Bob Backlund story is a good one. Look, Bob was a great guy. Bob was in a generation before me, but here I was with him, and he was just as kind and polite to me as he was to everybody, and he always has been. So he's an eccentric guy, but eccentric in a way where he's like uber healthy. Like, is that eccentric, or is that just how we all should be? You know what I mean?
It's eccentric when he's at a hotel and runs like 14 miles to the place where he's going to go work out or something.
Yes, that's what he does. And while you look at that and you go, wait, you ran all the way over here? Like, you don't even need to work out now. You just ran a marathon. Like, that's just the kind of stuff he does that you think, like, oh my God, what's this guy doing? He's just in really great shape, and that's how he lives his life, you know? So, yeah, Bob Backlund's a great guy. I don't have any, like, funny stories or whatever. He was a hard worker and a great guy, and is he eccentric? And when he I feel like when he went to Mr. Backlund, he took it to another level, and I loved it. We just saw him at ECW Arena doing a signing not long ago, and Billy Gunn said something to him, and he hooked Billy in the chicken wing like right away, and it was like so funny. I was just dying laughing because he had big Billy Gunn selling all over the place.
Amazing. 1, 2, 3 Kid comes out for the save, hits you with his lightning kicks. So you talked about you have a close friendship now. So you said it was about 6 months you'd been on the road and working with him.
Yeah, and look. We got along. We still get along the same exact way, only it's over different stuff now. But we hung out a lot back in the day, and so when when he kicks you, it says lightning kicks. Like, it's probably the equivalent of being struck by lightning, because he'll kick you, and he'll kick you in your face if you don't do something about it. And look, if he kicks you in the face, it's not his fault, because he'll tell you that I'm throwing the spin kick. This spin kick is coming at you, and you can either put your hands up or you can wear your nose, as earrings, and so it's up to you. But yeah, his kicks are always in there. But look, that was what he was known for, and he would take on much bigger guys and be a formidable opponent for those guys because of those kicks, because of his high flying and devil may care kind of high risk maneuvers he would do, diving off the top rope to the floor and stuff. Like, yeah, he was
that snap leg drop that he dropped was always
like
sick.
X-Pac just stood out, man. Well, 1, 2, 3 Kid, I guess, at the time, but he stood out from day one, and that's why he made it in this industry. He was a little guy that went back in a day when little guys didn't make it, but he did because he was special.
March 19th, 1995 is a major moment as it's the first time you're in Madison Square Garden as a performer. You're at ringside for Jeff and Sean taking on Diesel and Razor. Do you feel the pressure, aura, and intensity of being in the Garden, even though you're in a supporting role and not wrestling? Or I think, truthfully, we may have touched on this in an earlier episode, the Garden didn't have that for you, did it?
Yeah. Well, so look, it was... I'd say up until this point, either the first or second biggest building we had this match in. And this match was built for a big venue full of people because everything was big, everything was timed out with time and space, everything meant something. There was, look, it's Jeff Jarrett and Shawn Michaels versus Diesel and Scott Hall with me on the outside. Like, imagine. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to imagine, like, holy crap, that's going to be really good. There's going to be some great spots in it. There's going to be some good heat in it where we, get some heat on Scott and he tags Big Kev. And like, it was a perfect match for a big, huge sold out venue. And I don't know that MSG was sold out, but I know on that loop you just mentioned, Toronto and MSG were really good. And reacted accordingly. You know what I mean? So again, I'm playing wrestler with my friends. I'm just doing it at Madison Square Garden. I don't realize until I start looking back, or I don't think about it a lot, until I look back, man, how blessed I was to just slide right in the industry, slide right into WWE, slide right into the main event spot with those 4 guys. And again, I'm not in the match, but I'm on the floor and I'm an intricate part of the match, and I have to take both finishes to leave the people happy. So I had a part. But yeah, that was such a fun match to be a part of, man, and such great guys to be a part of it with.
I feel like when you're on the outside and maybe there's one major spot you're supposed to do that would be so easy to do, and of course you're going to be in the right spot, that just the fact that it's just the one spot in that match makes there have some sort of odd, unusual pressure that's like, I'm gonna screw it up, kind of. Like, if I don't really, like, just something makes you be like, if this is really easy, but for some reason it's not.
Well, look, because it's not, and that's the deal, is if you're not where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, it screws everything up. And now all the stuff we worked for and we put together and thought about and changed over different nights, and you screwed it all up. So it's those 4 guys would look you right in the eye and go, well, you screwed that one up. You know what I mean? And that's how it has to be. You're a team, right? If your outfielder drops the ball, you go, God darn, dude, catch the ball. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of do that, and it brings everybody up to that level. And then if you don't stay at that level or rise to the occasion, should the bar rise, you got left behind back in the day, man. That doesn't feel like it's the case today. But if you couldn't go and do what needed to be done, you weren't on TV. I can tell you that much.
Staying in New York, you get to be part of another big moment, Times Square, to help promote WrestleMania and Lawrence Taylor. And the WWF sets up a ring in Times Square's Canyon of Heroes. And Dogg, as the roadie, you take the last big moment when Diesel hits you with the powerbomb after Jarrett powders the ring after taunting him.
Of course I did.
What do you remember of this day in the Times Square experience?
Look, it was always cool when we did stuff like this, and because it was, to me, it was outside the norm of our wrestling world. Was we'd do stuff at time, even when they had the restaurant, and we'd do stuff there, and just anytime we did any stuff like that, it was really cool. One time me and Kid went to the MTV Music Awards in New York as a part of WWE, and so anytime we got to do extracurricular stuff like that was really cool. And it was always cool to do something set up in Times Square. You know what I mean? I don't want to move there, but it's really cool to have a ring in the middle of it and all these people around you, and Kevin Nash ends up dropping you at the very end, and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? And here we go to WrestleMania.
When you do those kinds of publicity stunts, do you feel the energy of a crowd? And I don't mean from the fan aspect, but from the what the heck is going on aspect of the people on the streets? Or in that situation, is it all fans gathering for the press conference or publicity event?
And for the most part, it was all fans. But look, you got to realize this was a little bit before the Attitude Era, but this was the hottest thing they had. Kevin Nash was in there. Jeff Jarrett was in there. We're going to Mania. It was definitely the go home. And so we had fun. We blew it out. You know what I mean? It was always cool to be a part of that extracurricular stuff. And Vince loves New York. You know what I mean? So it was always cool to do some New York kind of stuff.
From New York, we take it to Hartford, Connecticut, WrestleMania 11, and it's Razor defeating Jeff via DQ after your interference with 1-2-3 Kid also in Razor's corner. What do you remember about your first WrestleMania?
Yeah, so I remember X-Pac hitting Jeff Jarrett with that spin kick, and I don't know if it broke his nose, but man, there was blood everywhere. And it was, I came in and caused the DQ. Here came Kid, bing, bang, boom, and then it was off to the races where Kid was throwing a comeback, you know what I mean, and hitting and sticking and moving and spin kicks and everything. And so I just remember the energy of the moment when I had Jeff in my arms and we were backing up the ramp, and I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he was going, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." And I thought, like, "Oh my God, how are you fine? Your nose looks all over the place." But yeah, I just remember us having a great match. I remember that being a really big deal to me, being on the card with that where the football player wrestled Bam Bam Bigelow. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big deal to me.
Yep.
But it should have been probably a bigger deal to me. I was just young in the industry and probably entitled and getting my way at the time. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I wish I would have respected the. Or look, I guess I couldn't have. I didn't know what to expect or respect, and so how was I to know? I was just doing what I could do and having a good time doing it. You know.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you feel like you had made it, but it seems like you were just running through the moment.
I really was, man. I was just living in the moment. And looking back, of course, I thought, like, I'm sorry, I'm pouring myself some more sweet tea.
I like unsweet tea.
Oh, sorry.
Big unsweet. Can't do the sweet.
If you want to sweeten mine, you can just stir it with your finger.
Oh, sugar.
I'm such a redneck. What were we talking about?
We are talking. Now I'm going to be in this one right here. We're talking about the feeling of making it and running through the moment and just being in the now.
Yeah, that's what I was. And I wasn't thinking about the future, and I wasn't thinking about the past, and it was just do the best you can do out there and have a good time. Come back and talk to your buddies about how good you did. You know what I mean? And the paycheck will come in the mail in a few weeks. You know what I mean? Like, that was just my life at the moment, and I didn't realize what a life it was at the time.
You just brought up the paycheck in the mail, and I'm just starting to think, do you think talent now is robbed of the pleasure of seeing a paycheck as opposed to just getting the direct deposits nowadays?
Yeah, probably. Because look, we got all kinds of paychecks. We got Canadian paychecks, the blue checks. We got all overseas paychecks. So we would get all kind of paychecks. But yeah, they've never written a check either, so that doesn't matter.
Bringing it back. All right, 2 days after WrestleMania, and finally we have you in the ring in a dark match at a Superstars taping in Glen Falls, New York. You and Jeff taking on Razor and the Kid. It's got to feel good to actually get the match started.
So we did get the match started, and I remember this specifically. I don't remember the move that Kid took from me, or I took from him, or something, and he landed on the back of his head. So, it was a dark match. He said, let's not hurt my neck, whatever. When I came back from the match, I was worried about Kid. I was trying to find him, and Gorilla Monsoon looked right at me and said, "You're sloppy, Kid. You just hurt the Kid. What are you doing out there?" And I thought, I didn't hurt him. We did a bump and he landed wrong. Like, it was, I don't know. I didn't know what to say, but I knew Gorilla Monsoon was just mean to me.
Yeah. And
I took it as like, holy crap, did I hurt him? And Kid was like, no, you didn't. I took a bad bump and blah, blah, blah. And it was a dark match, so we ended it early. Like, it wasn't a big deal like it was made out, but Kid did take some rest after that. You know what I mean? He had an injured neck before, so he rested up after that a little bit.
Did you know ahead of time you were going to be wrestling, or was that the day of you find out?
That was a day of thing where they go, hey, this is a good match. It'll get the people. It'll start them up. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was opening dark or a closing dark, but it was like we'll either wake them up or we'll send them home happy at the end of the. It was one of those kind of dark matches, either pre or post show.
You're on a 6-day tour in Germany beginning April 17th, and it's Diesel and Razor defeating Jeff and Psycho Sid every night, and after every match, you guessed it, Razor's Edge and Jackknife Powerbomb. How was that on that tour, and what was your pain reliever of choice?
Lower tab, Soma, you name it. It was my choice, and I chose them all. But look at... that tour was awesome. Like, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. Like, we got off the bus and there's 1,000 people there. And that's when I noticed how, like, holy mackerel, these people are superstar level over here. Like, Bret Hart was the most over guy I've ever seen over there at that time. And I just thought, there's 800 people standing here with those silver shades on that he used to give kids in the front row. And I just thought, wow, what a star he is. You know what I mean? And it was eye-opening because I'd never seen, look, I'd seen, little hometown stuff sold out because my dad was working for the Southeastern title or something, but I'd never seen stuff like that. And it was like, holy man, it was eye-opening for me. And it was also really fun. Like, I had a great time that tour. I hung out a lot with Aldo Montoya, PJ, hung out with Bret a little bit on that tour, Dustin and Scorpio a lot on that tour. So yeah, I had a great time on that tour. And, yeah, it was supposed to be Shawn Shawn couldn't go. I don't know if he hurt his back or what the deal was, but so Sid took Shawn's place. And it wasn't the same match, and you can imagine because we replaced Sid with Shawn Michaels, and that's not saying anything negative. It's just
Sid put Sid in the flyer and technical role, and there he's
Sid couldn't do what Shawn could do, and that's by physics, not anything. You know what I mean? Not right, wrong, or indifferent.
Let's talk about Sid. You got any fun, interesting Sid stories? Because I was a monster Sid fan. Just the intensity, the
look. Were you really? Like, I was a Sid fan, but I was scared of him about this time. I was always real scared of him. He's a very intense dude. And I thought, like, well, I'll fight him if I have to, but I'd rather not. You know what I mean? He was just a big, huge guy. So one time, I forget what it was about, downtown Bruno and Sid were close. And so one time, I said, hey, man, that wasn't me. You're barking up the wrong tree. And Sid got up out of his chair and came over at me and was like, what do you mean barking up the wrong tree? What does that even mean? I said, you're saying I did that, and I didn't do that, dude. So we were standing, like, face to face, and nothing ended up happening, but I thought he's going to kill me. You know what I mean? Or he's going to beat me up here. But, yeah, I stayed away from Sid a little bit because, he's a different dude, as are all of us. He's a different dude today. Like, I've seen him lately, and we've had great conversations and it was a different, and when you're in that too, a lot of alpha males looking for that alpha male position in the industry, and people are different people then, man. As you put a little wisdom and age behind them, they smarten up a little bit. And I don't mean that, I mean that for me as much as I mean that for anybody. You grow up a little bit, you smarten up,
Sid's WCW leg break is one of the most gruesome clips I've ever seen in my life. And if you have never seen it and you like gruesome clips, look it up.
That's not pretty.
It's a shatter and a piercing of the skin.
Compound fracture.
All right, back in the States on April 24th in Omaha for Raw, in the dark match, you and Jeff defeat Razor and the Kid, but the match, so this is what we were just even talking about, because the neck injury transitions and all of that. So what you kind of addressed it, but how if you're in the ring and you have a situation where someone took a bad bump, in a heel role, when you're supposed to be just eating him up and going after him, how do you show some sort of concern?
Yeah, look, I think you just show concern with your voice and not with your actions. And that's funny because you say, ref, get me back. And then your ref's holding you back and you're going, dude, are you okay? You know what I mean? Like, to the viewer, you look like you're trying to get around the referee and fight him some more. To the person in the ring, you're checking on your buddy and making sure he's all right. And that's all you can do. You know what I mean? And if he's really hurt, you pin him 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter what happened creatively. It's your buddy's life we're talking about. You know what I mean? Or his health we're talking about. So, look, that happened with us when Eddie Guerrero came from WCW and hit Billy with that flying frog splash, and his elbow just
dislocated elbow. Bounce.
And he goes, just pin me. And so I think I just pinned him, or Billy did, or something, and it screwed up the creative of the whole show. But who cares? You know what I mean?
I had that same injury as Eddie my second match. I was taking on a 6'9" guy, and I go for a Rana, and he blocked it and slingshotted me over his head. When I hit the canvas, boom, same thing. Elbow just popped out, turned the other way.
Man. Those are ugly. Look, stuff like that happens, man. It's no, there's no way around it. Accidents happen. You just try to take care of each other, and you try to make sure each other's safe and okay throughout,
So that match was actually supposed to push through the program and be on the In Your House pay-per-view in May, but instead it got changed to a handicap match with Razor going solo against you and Jeff. This is your first televised match, and it's going to be on a pay-per-view. Is that exciting, or does that just make you nervous?
Well, look, it was exciting. I had been, like, Ryan, and I swear I don't mean it to sound this way, but like, I was doing opening matches on the pay-per-views at WCW, a year prior to this. So it wasn't that I hadn't been on television before.
You're doing your job.
Yeah, I thought everybody was on wrestling on television. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we all do this. This is our job. And what I didn't grasp, again, was the gravity of the situation, of the scenario that my professional life was in. I didn't grasp the weight of that. And hey, that's... youth is wasted on the young, you know what I mean?
I do. And before we go to this match, because we're actually going to watch this one, let's watch something else. We've got a clip of a Coliseum video match taped April 26th in Des Moines, Iowa, and they opened the show with Jarrett versus Razor, but this time they put you in a shark cage above the ring. And while we watch a clip of it, you must have a story of this match, I'm assuming, but when you listen to the commentary, you'll notice that you get called Road Dogg a few times.
Yeah, several times. I think Jeff had probably called me that, because prior to this, I think we had done the Heartbreak Hotel and some stuff on TV where Jeff had said the old road dog, you know what I mean? So I think he'd thrown the word around. But yeah, Monsoon, I think it's Monsoon in this doing the audio.
Is it Mr. Perfect with him, or who?
I don't know. I couldn't, when I watched this earlier, I couldn't tell who it was either. And so maybe somebody could help us.
Yeah, let's run this clip.
Down here. Well, obviously, referee
Danny Davis will start watching on
fines
YouTube.
here.
There's Razor in the ring, Jeff on the apron, and a shark tank in the middle of the ring. Shark cage, excuse me.
Double J, you bleach blonde country bumpkin.
He resembles that remark. He certainly does.
You carrying around my gold belt.
Both you and Jeff very upset on the outside.
Yes. He called me Chico.
You go in the cage, you get the razor's edge.
Oh, strong words.
Gets you fired up, gets you upset about the situation.
Yeah, this is what we did with Razor from the get-go.
Be aware from behind. Look out.
Road Dogg with a double axe from behind.
Double axe from behind. And this I thought was great.
I agree.
Door open, hit the ropes. Oh, he hit me.
And Jarrett knocks you into the cage.
Oh, and Dirty Danny, what was his name?
Danny Davis.
Yeah, Danny Davis. I just saw him actually this past week at a signing. There I go. They're hoisting the shark cage above the ring. So there's a funny story I'll tell at the end of this. This was actually great fun. You know what I mean? Like it was this kind of stuff is old wrestling stuff that never gets old. You know what I mean? They could do this again right now, and people would still love it with the right person.
Some people have fears of heights. I'm assuming you're not one of them.
So look, I was scared when I rappelled out of the bottom of a helicopter, out of the hellhole of a helicopter. I was scared when I rappelled down the rappel towers and stuff. But like that's different than heights. That's going down from a tall height with a piece of rope tied to you. You know what I mean? Like, and not trusting the whole process until you do it a couple times and learn, oh, this works. So no, I was not scared of heights as much as I was the fall from that height.
I mean, you're up there. I think one of those things that it's not the height, as you say, it's the wobble.
Yeah, well, and that thing, like I trusted the apparatus. I was up there, and look, I was way up there too. If I'd have failed, I'd have broke both my legs. I got to sue my legs for non-support anyway, as skinny as they are.
You sent a cable or a rope down.
Yeah, it was a kite. In prison, we call those kites. You know what I mean? You could send them to the other.
Not familiar with the terminology.
All right. Well,
my suburban
Ryan,
roots may be exposed.
Let's hope you never have to. But look.
Referee grabs from Razor.
Yeah.
Double J whipping Razor off the ropes, ducks down. Razor calls for the edge. Hoists him up. Arms extended.
Oh, God, here he goes. Oh.
Drops him, crashing.
But you see how Jeff bumped? Jeff took that bump and rolled backwards right over the bottom rope and out to the floor. It was smooth as silk.
Ring awareness.
Yeah, that was really good.
So it's funny you bring up, because that's the good side of ring awareness. I hate when people take head scissors and then collide with the ropes instead of having that smoothness to at least get your feet under it.
Yeah, know where you're at, and do stuff to the middle of the ring. That's what, man, so many talent does stuff around the edges that's where the ring's the hardest. Meet in the middle of the ring with anything you want to do, and if your timing's good, nobody will notice the extra steps.
Look, there's a clip of you on the Tron in the background.
On the Tron. But look, here's the finish. Like, why couldn't you you got the DQ with a double count out, but like, what I love is Gorilla burying the announcer. He's like, yeah, no crap. No crap. He's like, it's like, hey, I'm just doing my job over here, Gorilla.
Oh, and here's some great performance by you as you climb the cage and try to find an escape out through the top.
I was telling him to raise it back up.
This reminds me of when Enzo Amore was in the shark cage.
They're supposed to put it on the ground. I said, when it touches the ground, it will go.
Oh, gosh, almost lose your balance.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Oh, and into the cage, crash face first.
This is when the braids really came out.
I mean, Razor's got to do what he's got to do.
You hear the people?
They want it.
That's Jeff's spot.
Look at that cranium.
Gorilla just burying your head.
Gorilla's all over my hair.
You go up easy.
Yeah, well, look, and that's the thing is, even if you're long, if you sit up correctly at the right time during the power bomb, you'll sit right up. You know what I mean? It's very important that both of you have the same timing.
Jeff comes back, runs it right into a right-hand fist, and gets thrown right into the shark cage.
And then here I go. Oh.
And there you guys go, sent up for the rest of the evening.
So funny story, because that's exactly where I was going, Ryan. They sent us up real high, and they left us there as a rib. And they started to carry on with the show. And they had 2 more matches while we were up there. And, dude, I was spitting. I was cussing as loud as I could cuss. I was doing everything I could do to screw up that show so they would bring us down. Finally, they brought us down and were like, what happened up there? Jokey. But it was
fun. It's a pretty good rib.
Yeah, it was a good rib. But I wasn't staying up there, that's for sure.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
It's still going. Yeah. You're just still climbing. As a fan in there, and seeing that they keep you up there is one of those things that has to be like, wait, they're still there.
Hey, and if you think about it, dude, that's Razor Ramon. You know what I mean? I'm a year and a half into the business, maybe a year.
Doing business with the coolest guy in the world,
Ramon, man. Come on, man.
If you could change one thing about your home, what would it be? A new kitchen, a new master bath, maybe put in a pool. What if you could do it with no money out of pocket and cheaper monthly payments? SaveWithConrad.com can help, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com.
Road Dogg, the first In Your House pay-per-view is in Syracuse on May 14th with the handicap match we mentioned, and they're presenting it on commentary like they don't know if you can actually wrestle or not. Let's listen in. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, like, today you would say, like, hey, he's wrestled before. We all know it. You would sound stupid if you didn't know he's wrestled before. But, excuse me, at this point in time, it was like, no, just act like he's a totally different guy. And so it's a couple ways you can do things. I think they were trying to play the role of he's a roadie. He's not a wrestler. What can he do? What's he capable of? And all that. So yeah, I think that's the way they went with it. You could go both ways, but just like me. I always hit myself with that one. But yeah, so let's watch that film because I do think that's the way they went, character-based. He's a roadie. He's not a fighter. Oh, the old sack of shiz. Uno, dos. Oh,
big save by Road Dogg coming in at the last moment.
Just came in like a 6'4" piece of lumber.
Tagged in by Jeff Jarrett, making his way to the ring, approaching Razor Ramon. Grabs him for an Irish whip, sends him off.
Oh,
jumping clothesline. Yeah. Big momentum, throwing some extra body weight into it.
Yeah, because Scott's a big dude, you know what I mean? And so, headbutt in the bread basket. Watch this. You like those legs? You like those legs by X-Pac? You might like these.
Quick rotation on the fast snapping tornado
Three
style
elbows,
elbow.
And then I get up and I do a little dance. Here we go.
Yeah.
Vincent,
a little body roll
Vincent.
Right there.
Oh, God. Vince is actually so good at commentary.
I mean, that dance move could be compared to Mojo Rawley's potentially.
Yeah, right up there with Mojo. That's how good I was, right?
I'm a fan of those moves. It's exciting and fun.
Watch this one. Oh, got him. Listen to the people, too, man. If you're watching, the people are so into it.
Clean punches. And now the boots and a tag to Jeff Jarrett.
Tag to Jeff. Here we go.
Roadie running around the outside. Climbing up to the second turnbuckle. Towards the outside. Razor in precarious positions. And coming down like a torpedo with that clothesline.
While Jeff distracted the referee. We were, that was the beautiful part of the handicap match too. Was somebody take the ref, the other guy cheat. It's so easy. And then Razor's the big bad guy that actually can fight you both off and become victorious.
Celebratory taunts in the ring, getting heat from the crowd, and you hear him getting riled up at you guys.
Yeah. Razor was probably looking at me like, okay, you know what we're doing, right, kid? And I'm thinking, heck no, let's do it really fast.
Jarrett makes the tag kind of in your way as you had to step over him. And that's a big, long leap there for the knee drop.
When I did this, I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I saw it hit him with that knee, and I thought, wow, that's dangerous.
Meeting of the minds, double noggin knocker.
Yes.
Oh, it could be an omen.
Watch these bumps. Oh, you know what I do? I attack the ring with my back.
Absolutely. Snap, crackle, pop.
These always hurt too, by the way.
Side suplex off the top. Side superplex.
Yeah.
And the roadie is just out on the ring. Jarrett climbing himself up, using the ropes for balance, trying to get up on his feet as Razor has his attention on the roadie, and Jarrett's able to chop block or kick him from behind.
See, this is what I love. Timing and placement.
Jarrett looking for the figure four leg lock. Razor Ramon able to kick him off right into Roadie, who goes off the apron on the outside. And now Razor has Jarrett set up for the Razor's Edge, but struggles to get him up. He does get him, though.
Has him. The guy opposite Hardcam just left. He just walked out mid finish. Yeah, see, so look at the people. Like we got that double heat, that cheap heat, and then he comes back and beats us, you know what I mean? But we weren't done with him. We're not done with you, Razor Ramon. And then some fan hit the ring and started hit me with working punches.
Oh, come on. Come on. Wait. Does he know how to wrestle?
Yeah. Savio,
so here we see Savio Vega coming in with a character change as he had been known as Quang.
Yeah, Quang Quang. Here come the hot stepper.
You need Quang Ozy.
He was TNT too, right?
Yeah.
Look, I was fighting him. We were in a shoot fight at this point.
Well, this actually is looking really good and aggressive
I know.
right here.
That's why I just double-legged him and said, beat me up some more.
Officials come into the ring to break it up. And he's swinging.
Yeah. He's going to beat up Rene Goulet and Tony Gurria. Hey, come se va.
That hair is amazing.
That was cool, right? Oh, wait, who are you talking about? Rene Goulet?
Yeah.
Or Savio?
Renee's.
So that was Savio's debut as Savio Vega.
And you're going to end up meeting up with Savio Vega again soon.
One more time. He was the butterfly, man. He was the the bumblebee, excuse me. He was the guy that shouldn't be able to fly but could. You know what I mean? That was what we called Savio, was the bumblebee.
Your first singles match on television is versus Doink the Clown on Superstars, June 3rd, 95, in a King of the Ring qualifying match. Let's take a look at that one while you tell us some Doink and maybe some Dink stories.
Well, I don't have any Doink or Dink stories, but I can tell you a joke about... Never mind. So I don't remember which Doink this was. Like, I don't remember who this guy was. It might have been Matt Bourne. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I didn't know you were going to say that, so I didn't actually do my little research.
Oh, well, no, I didn't either. Like, I thought, but look, there were several Doinks and there were a lot of Dinks too. So, but that Dink was I think he was the French Canadian. My name is Me llamo Dink. I don't know why he's Spanish and speaking with a French accent. It's probably because I'm not smart. But look, when I watched this back, I thought, like, at this stage in the industry, I was doing all right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I was okay as a wrestler. I was doing okay anyway.
Doink was always fun to play with as a character on the PlayStation video game.
Oh, yeah? Could he do stuff like tricks? And
he'd had little tricks.
Spray water in people's faces.
Exactly. Yep.
What a great spot.
Fun story about this match is that it was taped a couple of weeks earlier than it had aired on May 16th, and you actually had to take a month off after this, reportedly due to a staph infection. Do you remember what happened with that?
There was an infection in the staph? No, so
Blue Chew can't help with that. That one's going to require a doctor's visit.
That's going to require a shot, my friend. So I remember getting on an airplane in Minnesota, flying to Atlanta, and by the time I got to Atlanta, which is where I was staying at the time, my knee had swollen up to like basketball size. I went home and sat on the couch, and my brother and Joey Maggs, I don't know if that's a blast from the past, came over and said, dude, you got to go to the hospital. And I ended up staying in the hospital like 5 days. It was just staph from wearing like rubber knee sleeves and not cleaning them properly and stuff. And we were on the road all the time, so they would go days without being cleaned properly, you know. So I just didn't know what to do and how to do stuff at the time. So yeah, I got a bad staph infection, and I was hospitalized for a little while.
And here we see you throwing some nice punches on Doink. That's something you're proud of, your punches?
Yeah, very, very proud. And look, I'll say another thing about my punches that I'll never forget. You see that innovative offense
running back elbow.
Cut off. It was the cut off because it was like a desperation cut off, like he had just got me. Anyway, Michael Clark Duncan of the Green Mile fame told me in LA one time I had the best punch in the business, that people always go down on them. And I said, well, that's because I asked them to. But I'll never forget that. Like, yeah, I'm proud of my punches.
All right, so after this match, you're taking some time off due to the infection. Is this also what starts setting up the time to record the With My Baby Tonight single?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't know if I'd already recorded it at this point. And or if it was coming soon. I just don't remember which came first, the recording or the infection. The recording was much more
for most rock stars. It's first the recording and then the infection,
then the infections, and a lot of them aren't staff. They're actually on their staffs. So
big tight roll up right there for the win.
I beat him. I cheated to beat Doink, but I advanced in the King of the Ring.
You cheated, but also used good technique by driving your feet in constant motion.
Yes, and I used distraction to get the attack from behind. But yeah, so look, I was on my way, and I was doing all right. I was getting good grades. My future was so bright, I quit.
As you're off for the infection, Jeff appears by himself on TV for a few weeks, and they tease on commentary there's dissension between you guys because you qualified for King of the Ring and he didn't. Do you know at this point that they're planning for you guys to split up?
So yeah, look, I always knew the plan was to split up. Like I in retrospect, I don't think 6-8 months, whatever it was. Like I feel like we could have done it a year from then, but I don't know what the reasoning for was to rush right through it. Now, at this point, it might have been, look, we got to do what we can while he's out to promote all this stuff so that we can do it when he comes back and we can at least do the idea. But yeah, I don't know why it happened it just all happened really fast after that.
As it's happening fast, what's everyone's mindset on the plan? Are you expressing confusion of why it's happening so fast, or just kind of being pulled in the direction?
No, I'm just being pulled in the direction for sure. But also, like, you're just seeing that stuff on TV. Like, I'm at home watching, and they're talking about the dissent between us, and I was like, wait, that's no good. There's no dissent between us, not yet. But again, things happen. Choices are made because I was out injured, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, you can't predict what's going to happen. So if somebody goes down, you go, how do we continue to tell this story in a way that we can pick right back up when he gets back? And I think that's obviously what they thought was the best plan of attack.
Are you and Jeff in communication at this time while you're not there at the shows?
Yeah, but not constant communication. Like me and Jeff were still building our friendship, and because like I said, that couple months before in Poughkeepsie, I think it was the first time I'd ever met him. So we're still building our relationship, and we weren't as close then as we are now, but we were getting that way, All
right, you're seemingly back to 100% by the time we reach King of the Ring in Philadelphia, and you're getting a big push at this time, and you beat Bob Holly in the quarterfinals and then lose to Savio in the semifinals. Pay-per-view's got to be a crowning achievement for you, right?
Yeah, it's a huge
King of the
moment.
Ring, crowning.
But that's the thing. It's like, I see what you did there. You crowned.
Ding.
It was a crowning achievement because it's like a grandfather. Oh, thank you. Every time an angel. Never mind. Every time. Anyway. Yeah. Yes. This is my floor. Thank you. Women's lingerie. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the pay-per-view. Yeah,
King of the Ring.
Yeah, it was a huge opportunity for me, and I was also like getting pretty far in it. So that was a way for them to see what I could do, but to put some equity in me too as an in-ring performer. So looking back on it now, I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty cool. I guess they were just doing that to put some steam on me, looking back in retrospect. No, I didn't win it, but I did do well in it. And we used to do that all the time. It's like, look, we don't want such and such not going to win this, but we'd like him to look good during it, And I was that guy during this time period. And so I'm grateful for that.
Let's play some clips while we're talking a little bit about it.
Yeah,
You versus Bob Holly.
Bob Holly will beat you half to death in that ring if you let him, and you don't have any choice but to let him. So let's watch him beat me up a little bit. Bob Holly's gonna. Oh yeah, Bob is a Alabama boy, and he brought it. When you're in there with him, you knew it.
You go right for the charisma, right for the dance moves. You throw a little hip thrust as you bring him up, looking for a pile driver, and there's the back body drop.
Back body drop.
That's one of two.
Just watching this and listening to the people, when I watched it earlier, is like we're not doing anything, but like he kicked me out of the one thing. Now I go to get him again, and here we go, and he's gonna get out of that too, I'd imagine. You know what I mean? Like.
And it's great. You got Jeff seconding you on these matches as well to throw a little extra sizzle on the product.
And meanwhile, I'm advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. You know what I mean?
Yep. Bob climbing out of the way. Road Dogg off the ropes, or the Roadie off the ropes. Takes a beautiful bump on a drop kick right there.
Kick. Yeah. I met him in the middle, dog. Met him right in the middle off the run. Anything off the ropes, a running bump is always, I love that.
What do you remember about this show, the King of the Ring specifically? Or is it just getting through these matches and knowing that momentum's building?
Yes. It was, for me, it was just, okay, let's get through these matches. And I didn't feel like I belonged there, to be quite honest with you. I was in there with Bob, who'd been there a while, with Doink, who'd been there forever, with, you know what I mean? And I'm advancing through this, through the qualifying matches and then in the tournament. And I don't know, like I didn't feel like I belonged, so I was nervous about the matches and how they were going to turn out,
Big power slam by Bob, who doesn't hook the leg on the cover, only good for 2, allows it. Oh, I thought you were actually going to grab a small package right there. Can benefit if you have a small package with the help of a little Blue Chew.
D-O-double-G. Okay, I'm setting him up top. Climbing up there, what's he going to do? Am I going to superplex him?
Looking for that big superplex.
Oh, no. Bob Holly says no. He punched me right in the head.
You just take the Nestea plunge, go straight down.
Nestea. Oh, I love Nestea. And now I'm waiting for a perched Bob Holly. Oh.
Gets the right boot up just in time, connects on the face of Holly, and then...
I didn't cover a leg either.
Yeah, but explain to me this finish, because this one looked like something went wrong a little bit.
So
Holly kicked up, you didn't hook a leg, you kind of just rolled into the cover.
Yeah, he kicked out post 3, but the referee was there. He was just there a hair late, it felt like. But I don't know, like it felt like, is there a problem? You know what I mean? Is there an issue there? Like, I don't think it was, something looked messed up with it.
And as a heel, you can get out of that situation that you screwed him.
I beat him. So this is me and Savio.
Now, Philly could be a tough crowd, and I think I remember on this show that it was a particularly rough night from the crowd.
Yeah.
Does a tough crowd get to you or get you jazzed up and motivated to kind of try and turn them?
So I'm marking out for my own work. I'm
looking for that diving headbutt.
Diving headbutt that I had him move from. And so now we're going to watch this comeback and see if I can feed. What was your question, Ryan?
Tough crowds.
Yeah.
Does it get to you, or do you work
always
through
a tough
it?
crowd. No, you have no choice but to work through it, but it gets to you every time too. You know what I mean? Oh, come on.
Taking those ropes, you talked about attacking the mat on the bumps, attacking those ropes when running.
Too. And so I'm so tall that I could lay back into them, you know what I mean? And so literally in one of these, I thought, and it may have been the first match, is there's a drop down where I drop down. Oh, good night, Irene.
Oh, that was a check in the nose for a little blood right there.
Big boot from Savio Vega. I'll tell you what, I love Savio Vega as a human being. I nobody's better, man. What a great guy. Oh, Jeff pulled the foot. You summoner. Why I oughta. Now I go to shoot him to Double J. He reverses it. We run into each other. No, I'm not that stupid. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, no. Oh. That's how you get them, though, man. Ryan. That's how you do it. That's how you double team the old double teamers.
If you would have just kept your focus, dog, you could have been king of the ring.
What was I thinking? What in the flip was I thinking, Ryan? Oh, look, and now he gets the elbow rub from Big Skit Hall. Savio was in business, bro.
We move forward, and in early July, they aired the With My Baby Tonight music video on all the TV shows. Obviously, we know now it's you singing, but when it aired, nobody would have suspected or expected a thing, correct?
Yeah, correct. Like they just thought, oh, Jeff's singing a song now, and so, yeah, I think it was, look, I loved the idea from the get-go. When they called me and said, look, this is the idea, I thought it was a great idea because it was just Milli Vanilli, you know what I mean? It was just a a new version of Milli Vanilli in wrestling, country version. So I always loved it, and it was always the plan was to be sing the song. He's trying to steal the credit. I'm the young underdog who's trying to sing and get out, the upstart, and Jeff's the bad guy. And so it was always meant to be us breaking up. I don't know that we had to do it so soon. I think we could have bought it, maybe done a year and a half, and then do the explosion or the implosion, excuse me.
Let's run this video, and maybe if you're feeling inspired, you can bless your fans with a live performance. I know a fan's going to say, why did he just start talking so squeaky right there?
You're so sweet, Ryan. I'm not going to sing. Just coughing and act like it.
With my baby tonight.
Days working hard on the go. With the hands on the clock, keep spinning too slow. 'Cause I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
This is that. So here we are again, talking about me not knowing what the crap's going on and definitely not deserving any of it. And I'm in a recording studio, literally recording a song written by, Grammy Award winner Jim Johnson, and
I was actually going to ask
suck.
if you were in the recording studio or if you recorded it on your own for this, because I know a lot of times we used to just have people record it at this point on their phones.
This would I would fly. No, I don't even know if we had phones then.
No.
But I flew up to Stamford and spent like 3 days up there in this recording studio with Jim Johnson recording this song. So we had already recorded the song. This was just Jeff singing to a track,
So you're making hit records, man. What were you expecting the reaction to be?
I'm working in the main event. I'm laying down tracks.
What were you expecting the reaction to be to this?
I don't know. Times they were a-changing for sure, and this kind of music was on its, or this kind of song, I guess, was on its way out. But it's still, look, I get a lot of people making fun of me for the song, but I'm kind of proud of it. I think it's a good song.
I mean, there's no reason not to be proud.
Let's listen to me hit this falsetto real quick.
You couldn't help it. You couldn't help it.
I can't. I'm sorry. But look, I think I'm proud of the song. I really am. If that makes me a goofy nerd, whatever, then goofy nerd am I. But I like it, man. I'm still proud of it.
And you should be, and it's an amazing thing to have and always be a part of history that you got to do this. I made a couple of songs for some superstars at WWE that they never got to use that I just wish they would have because they were so fun. So I vicariously lived through the joy and the pride of yours because this is awesome.
And Jeff nailed the lip sync, We rented out a bar and had everybody there, and
all those moments when you go on location to create something are just special and enjoyable.
Are special and they're fun. Yeah, and everybody's friends there. It was all office people that came because it was in New York, so they didn't rent any actors or anything. They just had office people come, and listen to this one.
And it's a full-length song.
Oh, yeah, it's still going. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. Why don't we cut that off?
No. All right, so at this point, you're living that rock and roll life, and reports were that you failed a drug test. Do you remember what you failed for?
I don't believe you, Ryan.
Come on.
I think you're telling a fib.
We got to be honest here and open with these people.
Sure it was, at this point, I'm sure it was marijuana.
Okay.
And that was a number fine, and the second time was a double that number fine, and the last fine I got was after they fined me on that WrestleMania check, where me and Kid were on the outside, and they fined me, I think it was $7,500. So it was a stiff fine for the.
That's some expensive kind, bud.
That's expensive weed. But I was making more money than I'd ever made. So even that wasn't a consequence to me, if that makes sense. Like, it was like, okay, you took $7,500, I still got $30,000. I never seen that much money in my friggin' life. You know what I mean? Like, it was, to me, it was like punishment. That was that was not a punishment, but the next one was. So we'll get there.
So then the next one leads to a suspension. Is that how that goes?
Yeah, they just kept doubling, and then finally I said, look, this is what I'm gonna do. Who do I make the checks out to? And we'll just go from there. And so right about that time, as it started easing up a little bit, but still not much.
With Jeff not being happy that you two are about to be broken up and you failing a drug test, is this a Molotov cocktail of sorts of bad circumstances in the run-up to the gigantic match and angle that's supposed to happen for you guys?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure the people in creative were watching their baby fall to pieces. But, that kind of stuff happens all the time. People mess up, people make mistakes, people, get DUIs or whatever, and you kind of, the show's got to go on. So I don't know if they were like going, oh my God, this guy's a lunatic, and yet. They got there. They got to where they were like, yeah, this Road Dogg's a friggin' idiot. And it didn't take them long to get there. But they weren't there yet. You know what I mean?
Is frustration building up at this point for you? Obviously, we're getting closer to this out of the blue moment where the world changes for you. So
yeah, so no, it wasn't frustrating for me. It wasn't frustrating for me creatively. I didn't have an idea about the creative process or decision making. I didn't have any idea about any of that. I just knew I was having fun with my new friend Jeff, and Jeff wasn't happy because, look, I think back then what the deal was Razor. We were working with Razor at all these shows. Razor was getting paid a ton of money. Look, of course I wasn't. I'm not going to get close to what the guys are getting, but I was making more than I've ever made. Mm-hmm. And Jeff was obviously not making what Razor was making. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you're in that spot, pay me like I'm in that spot. But I think there's something to be said as, Razor was a little higher up on the echelon than we were. So maybe he got taken care of a little more. I don't know. I don't know if was that the final straw, but it was, Jeff didn't feel like he was being treated right. And I said, yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. You know what I mean? And that's
Jeff's
really as far as it went.
So does Jeff's frustration start making things harder for you just in terms of dealing with people, or is he good and professional about keeping that frustration just between you guys?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I never even, Jeff's a businessman, and he's a consummate businessman. He's always working. And so he was working this whole time, and he never got he never had emotionally upheaval or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I never saw him get upset during this process. It was all about him thinking, what's my next move? He's a chess player, and so he was thinking about his next move from a business standpoint, and I had no idea what he was thinking about. I was just like, yeah, you're my new friend. Let's go to your daddy's house.
All right, things start heating up because it's building at this point, and it's going to get hard for you, which in business is rough, but in the bedroom would be a good thing. So let's take a moment to help those needing heating up rate higher on the ohms hardness meter with the help of Blue Chew. And then we'll come back and discuss your last night before taking a walk. Blue Chew music, please, and let's set the mood.
Hey, baby.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises.
He said arises.
The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And here's the best part. It's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a very discreet package.
But there won't be anything discreet about your package.
It's time to get off the couch. Bring it and swing it. If your tool needs an upgrade, head to BlueChew.com. And if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code DOGG at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code DOGG, 2 G's, to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Oh You Didn't Know. Oh, you didn't know. Oh, you didn't know.
Oh, she gonna know now. Oh, you gonna know. You gonna learn today. All right, here we go.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it felt good. And the dancing, I think I hurt my back.
I thought you were doing some interesting hand motions at one point.
I'm feeding the goats.
Yes, you were doing some milking.
Or slalom skiing. I'm not sure. You do with that what you will, Ryan.
Okay, we're now back, and it's your final night as the roadie in the WWF.
Oh,
it's In Your House 2, Nashville, Tennessee. And speaking of Nashville, Tennessee, STARRCAST is going to be taking place there. Oh my goodness gracious.
STARRCAST in Nash Vegas. What are you doing that week, Ryan?
I'm not too sure
I'm not
yet,
too sure either,
Dog.
but let's get together.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, cool. Last night, as the roadie, Nash Vegas, In Your House 95.
How long before the show do you know that this is the plan for the breakup to happen?
The whole day. The whole day, Jeff is like, I'm doing business, I'm to do the right thing, and then I'm going home. And I was like, well, I'm going with you. And he was like, you don't have to go with me. Don't, this is your career. You do. So he while I did it anyway, the whole time, was very honest with me that I did not have to do this, that this was not my fight, that all of the above, and I said, I'm with you, Jeff, let's go. I didn't know what I was giving up. I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't have any idea. I just was flying by the seat of my pants and dumber than a bucket of blonde hair.
Did you have any conversations with the Vince, Bruce, Pat, anyone about what was going on?
We had our bags set up, and we walked out of that ring and went through Gorilla and grabbed our bags and went right to the car and left. And literally, we went to Jeff's dad's and started drinking and got in the hot tub.
We're going to talk about
Yeah,
that more in a sec.
Yes.
Let's run the clip of this match. In the pay-per-view opener, you defeat the 1-2-3 Kid in a great match with the crazy pile driver from the middle turnbuckle.
That was his idea, and he called that, and I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And you can see I kind of put one foot down when I did it. Now, right now, we're watching those spin kicks I talked about earlier, decapitate a man, and that man was me. So now 1-2 and kick out. He's going to have to do more than that to beat the old road dog. Takes a good man to beat me. It just don't take him long. Oh,
next
kicked me right in the face and the turnbuckle. At least I didn't have anywhere to go.
Big scoop slam, puts you in position, says stay there, dog.
Yep, here we go.
Climbs up top, looking for a high risk maneuver. What does 1-2-3 Kid have in mind? Big frog splash, connects.
Frog splash, uno, dos, not today, kiddo bambito. Is that Donald Trump, the referee? Oh no, that's Jack Doan. Look from the back, he looked like he had a comb.
Had the hair.
Oh yeah.
Kid goes for the Rana. You counter with the sit out power bomb.
Yeah. I thought our timing looked really good on that too.
Yep.
But yeah, this was a great match. There was only one spot where we weren't simpatico mentally, and it didn't get. You couldn't really tell anything was going on, but I don't know. You might could, but me and him could anyway.
Back Kid into the corner right there. Irish whip him off. Pillar to post across to the other side, and there you have your shoulder connecting with the post. I don't even know about buckle. You ate the post, dog.
Oh yeah, you're right. I did eat the buckle post.
Kid climbing up again.
I didn't know how to do that. I should have just fell on the top rope. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to
physically pulled his leg off of it.
Pulled him off of there. And
oh my goodness!
See how one foot went down first?
Yep.
Like I was just scared to do it, and he was like, "No, it's going to be awesome, and you're going to beat me." And I was like, "I don't know, man." And we've talked about that 100 times since. Like he wanted that done, and so that's what we did.
There's certain moves when you're in those positions where it seems like it should be simple. Just step back and drop. Take a clean bump to your butt, whatever. I remember the first time having someone up in the fireman's on the second to do Finley's roll through, and I'm just up there. I'm like, I can't do this. This is scaring me. And it's very simple, and I should be able to do it. And like I have the skill to do so, but like mentally, a block right there.
Oh Lord, I'm a swell dancer too.
You got some moves,
I got some moves.
So it's amazing Kid would actually call for that spot after coming back from a neck injury. We talked about that.
He trusted me, and he said he's not going to hurt, and he didn't get hurt, and thank God he didn't, because I didn't know what I was doing. But we worked together, and we talked about it, and we figured it out, and we did it. You know what I mean?
So after this match, we also have another big moment because we have Jeff getting to sing With My Baby Tonight in a live performance.
So this was a big night for us.
This is great. If we can get audio right here.
Is back up on the stage. What's he doing? Checking things out. I think the Kid is being assisted. Mike, check. Back to the locker room. 1, 2. And the Kid is going to be all right.
Just finish the big match and then to come up for the mic check.
I made sure the stuff was plugged in correctly there.
Lawler putting you over, putting over the gimmick.
Yeah, look, that was it's the perfect night for a young man's career, and what he should do at the end of it is quit. What the world?
When you were
Kid, I just beat 1, 2, 3.
You got an extra segment.
On the pay-per-view. I did the singing thing with Jeff. Then we had the Intercontinental title match that I'm sure we're going to get to here in just a moment. But what a big night for us. And in retrospect, looking back, man, it was just, error in judgment. And believe you me, it wasn't the first one, and it wasn't the last one I've made. And and I will continue to make them because that's just who we are. We do what we can do, but we make tough decisions sometimes, and they're the right ones sometimes, they're the wrong ones sometimes. You got to live with it. I lived with this one. I regret it though. You know what I mean? It's one of my regrets. Had I stayed, I still don't know if I would have gotten any higher up the echelon.
It's funny you say what would have happened. You became a Hall of Famer, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's another true statement about how blessed I am. And look, I make no qualms about it. I got into the industry because my father and my brothers were wrestlers, and so I got a leg up. I got a foot in the door. I'd like to think that I did my own work and showed that work on a separate sheet of paper, so that I earned the spot I was given or the opportunities that I were given. But I don't know. You just do the best you can do and see what happens with it.
When you returned in '96, they showed a video of you singing in an empty arena. Was this your recording of the song from earlier in the day, or was this just something else?
No, it was just something else. Like literally, that was what we were going to do. Was they were going to show the rehearsal of me doing it, which was that. And so we quit, and everything kind of went by the wayside.
There's also always been a rumor that a second music video was going to be done. Were you supposed to be the singer of that video? Do you remember?
Yeah. So look, I know we did sing one other song, and I forget the name of it, and I forget how it goes, but I sang it at the Slammies, I want to say, or the something like way back then, and I sang a different song, and I don't know what it was called now. But I sang it on stage, and all the boys, the talent, were all in there and stuff. So, yeah, we were definitely going to do more music. I mean, that was the idea.
Later in the show, Jeff defends the Intercontinental title versus Shawn, and of course you're at ringside. And after a little mix-up, you accidentally trip up Jeff, and it cost him the title. Let's run this clip. We're very clip-heavy today.
I love it.
Yeah. Just the music every time.
Music City, USA. You just heard the man. You just heard the man, did you not? The World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion. Today,
Yeah?
And he'll be the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion tomorrow.
All right.
There ain't nothing all of you Nashvillians or the Heartbreak Punk Shawn Michaels
Is this on the
can do about
pay-per-view?
Did you see that sign at ringside?
With my back to hard camera the whole time as I cut a
A little hot, little sweaty. Singing
Like,
the
what's
debut.
going on? Did they just send me out there to spend some time or something?
You know, Double J
Getting
does
some
nothing.
heat, building up. This was in your house. It was that
Yeah.
intimate creation of bringing you into the arena if you were at home.
The World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental
There he comes.
Champion,
There he is.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
I'm not hearing any cheers.
Oh, amazing. High crossbody by Jarrett on Shawn. Goes for the cover. Road Dogg on the outside. Thinks he's got it
Kick
under.
out, no.
No.
Shawn kicks out. Hey, this match was another banger, man. The timing with these two guys and just the kind
Chemistry.
of the chemistry, the kind of the same mentality of that Southern wrestler.
Oh, and there's where it was. You thought it was Shawn coming off. You end up tripping Jarrett. Into the super kick goes Jeff. He's dropped down for the 3. Heartbreak Kid gets the win.
What did the roadie do? I pulled the wrong foot.
You cost him the match. You cost him the championship. You cost him his career, dog.
Jiminy Christmas. He cost me mine too. We walked out right after that. So, see, right here, I'm talking to him, and we were supposed to get up, and he was going to shove me, and I was going to knock him on his butt. I believe that's what it was supposed to do. And he said, "I'm rolling out of here," and I said, "I'm rolling with you."
So the breakup was supposed to happen in the ring.
Yes. Well, it was supposed to be a punch. The first.
We see the replay of the trip.
Yeah, I had my back turned, so I didn't see.
I love how
Look,
you
I
just
thought
with the
I did the right
fans.
thing.
It's great. Your reaction is just so confident. There's trouble in Music
trouble.
City.
There's trouble for sure. There's the talk right there.
And then Vince reports that something's going on backstage.
You won't believe what just happened, man. I was standing here, and Double J came back, and he was mad. And then the roadie came back, and he was mad. And Double J, he yelled at the roadie, and the roadie yelled at him. And Double J pushed the roadie, and the roadie pushed Double J. And then they got each other's face. And then the roadie, he hit Double J. He knocked him down on his keister, man. And then they went in his door. They won't let me in. You won't believe it. You will not believe the words coming out of their mouth. There is trouble in paradise. I'm telling you, man, I mean, they were at each other. I don't know what has happened. They have cut the cloth. I don't know, man. Back to you. I'll try to get more. I'll try.
How much blow did Doc Hendricks bump up his blowhole before delivering that promo?
He was great. Look, Michael's great. Blow or no blow, Michael's great.
That was just amazingly over the top,
But that's what
exuberant and
that's what
excited.
they were doing, right? It was like, oh, they didn't do our part. We're going to tell them that they did. You know what I mean? And that's smart on their behalf, trying to clean up the mess that we made. You know, the talent made.
So you had mentioned you knew you were walking out all day at this point, so you knew that was it.
Yep. I knew I had a little money in the bank, and I knew, hey, this wrestling thing's easy. I made it right to the top in a year, and it wasn't so easy after that.
So explain the frustration from that moment to that night when you're home, and then the next morning when you go, did I really just do that?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a wake up the next morning, like, okay, what now? So we were kind of in. I wasn't. Jeff was kind of in talks as to, okay, what are we going to do here? How are we going to salvage this? They obviously didn't answer anything, and in that period of time, Bill Watts came in for just a moment to do like Jim Ross's old job or whatever, talent relations, you know, and Bill was a no-nonsense guy, and he said, they walked out, screw them, we ain't bringing them back, blah, 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 you know, but so he was there for a while, we weren't going back while he was there, that's for sure. And I, you know, that's right. Jeff was very professional. I was unprofessional. I just walked out on him for no reason and didn't say anything. Jeff had been talking with them for weeks about all this and kind of knew, hey, this is where I draw the line. So again, just a young rookie mistake, loyal to a fault, and look, I'm still really good friends with Jeff Jarrett, and he takes care of me, and he has taken care of me ever since. So I don't think that was a bad move. I don't think it was a mistake as far as my professional career goes at the time. But as far as like the friendship and the relationship that Jeff and I have now, I'd quit with him every day of the week.
Did you consult with your family at all that you were going to do this, or was this a shock to them?
No, yeah, it was a shock to them. My dad called me and told me I was a dumbass. And he was right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was just young and dumb, man. And this is what we're doing. So let's do it.
So
and that's as far as I thought about it too.
So what's the plan? Because you walk out, but technically you're still probably locked up under a contract, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, until they sent me the release. You know, they wired us both releases. So Jeff went to WCW. I started working in Memphis for Jeff's dad, and I started going overseas to Germany and doing a lot of, so really starting to hone my craft and starting to learn what I'm supposed to be doing in there. And I did that in Memphis. So while it wasn't a great business decision, I kind of needed to do that. It was kind of the path I needed to take so I could learn, more about what I was doing in there, and again, hone my craft a little bit.
You brought up the hot tub earlier in the show. Bruce Pritchard has told the story that Jerry Lawler flagged him down on the road after the show, and that Lawler had heard from Jerry Jarrett that you guys were all just drinking wine in the hot tub, and that you and Jeff were going to head to WCW. What do you know about all this?
That was the rumor. Well, look, that's exactly what happened. We went right to Jeff's dad's house and sat in that hot tub and got screwed up. Screwed up more than I already was probably, but that's just where we were at the time, man. Yeah, that's true. Jerry probably told King told everybody, and there we were. So but look, that's what we did. It wasn't like we were trying to hide it from anybody. We walked out on them.
You're booked almost immediately to return to Smoky Mountain Wrestling as Brian Armstrong. Do you reach out to Cornette, or does he reach out to you?
Yeah, but look, Dad and Scott and them were going back and forth, so it was kind of an easy deal. Like, hey, Brian's available. You want to go work for him? And that was kind of, then we started doing the thing with the Smoky Mountain versus the USWA. It was almost like an invasion angle of East Tennessee versus West Tennessee, And it actually worked out really well, and I had a great time doing all that. I didn't get rich, but I paid the bills and learned how to do it and paid my dues a little bit. I loved working in Memphis, man. We had some great friends there. Got some great friends there still. Met my wife there. A lot of good things happened during that period of time. So had I not done that, my life would be very different, and I don't know in a good way.
So every time you start thinking about the regrets of what would have been if I didn't, and where would have the career gone, your life took the trajectory and the path that was meant to be, because things worked out real great for you. Man. In that situation, did you think that you would ever go back then, or was it? It was done?
Yeah, look, I kind of thought it was done because I thought, well, there's a bridge burnt, but I'll work for WCW then. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of thought, oh, well, I'll go down there, and that opportunity never came about. So I did exactly what I needed to do. I thought at the time I should leave with Jeff, so I did. It was a bad decision in retrospect, but heck, I guess we've all made those,
What do you think's the biggest misconception about you walking out?
I guess that I was unhappy creatively because we both walked, but I was on top of the world. And apparently, and this is what I've been told, that we were going to have a triple threat, me versus Jeff versus Shawn Michaels at the next pay-per-view for the Intercontinental title. And I quit instead of going and having that match. You know what I mean? Good Lord.
Lord,
you live and
indeed.
learn, man. You live and learn.
Anything else you want to get off your chest about that time and just let the people know are here?
Well, I mean, it was just, I was just having fun, living the rock and roll lifestyle, high on drugs all the time, in main events just given to me, opportunities just given to me. I was entitled. I wasn't grateful. And so, I would just say, like, try to live in the moment and try to be thankful for the opportunities that are given to you every day if we look for them. And so I just had to kind of change my perspective, and that's what happened when I got sober. Was like the glass is not half empty anymore; it's half full now. To change my perspective, how do I look at things? I don't look at things so negatively anymore. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay, even if it doesn't turn out perfect or how I want it to. Everything's still gonna be okay, and especially this was wrestling. I learned a lesson about professionalism and how to conduct yourself as a WWE superstar, or you know what I mean? Like those were all lessons that I learned the hard way through this night. So yeah, I don't want to get anything off my chest, but I do want you guys, to think about that. Think about being present in the moment, man. No matter what your job is, no matter what you're doing, think about the things that you're thankful for, the things that are most important in your life, and just work. Whistle while you work, dog, and think about the blessings you have bestowed on you. So, Ryan, I feel like we need to wrap this up, B.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I think we got to go get a couple quick questions from the Dog Pound, from the fans in there.
All right.
Let's go to a couple questions, and we'll call it a day today. Chad GoMillion82 wants to know, did you ever feel after leaving, what the hell did I just do? Or is that not something at the time that crossed your mind? And then if you can go back, what might have you done differently, or would you have still left?
Yeah. Look, I think I would have probably still left, just because in my mind, as wrong as this was, staying with Jeff and leaving was the right thing to do. I know now that for me, professionally, that was not the right decision to make. But personally at the time, and I mean, I don't regret it, because like we just said, a lot of great things came to me because of the path I took. Now, what was the question exactly, Ryan? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Would you have done any changes? I think we covered that as we were talking. I think we made a few of these.
Chad GoMillion is my Orkin man, by the way.
Oh, a little pest control.
Little pest control. Yeah, and the crabs, he got rid of those too.
With the little
I'm just
Old
kidding.
Bay.
I use some shampoo for that.
All right, TJB Jason Bayless wants to know, with the heel turn of Bulldog coming around this same time, was there ever a feeling that the Jarrett Roadie act was getting shuffled backward instead of forward as it was before the split-up idea? I mean, Sid had just taken the #1 heel spot after WrestleMania 11, now Davey's #2. So he just wants to know if you feel like you were getting pushed to the back burner.
So I did not feel that way. Jeff probably did feel exactly that way. Jeff had been around and in the industry long enough to see stuff like that when it was happening. I had no clue what went on behind the scenes, and I just said, what are we doing? Oh, that's cool. What if I do this? What if you do that? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like that was the extent of my wrestling knowledge. And so I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. But Jeff always was conscious of that kind of stuff. Still to this day, thinking about the business part of it all, and just calling me and going, hey, you cool if I set this up and we do this? I'm like, I'm in, dog. And he just runs with it. You know what I mean? That's just the kind of guy he is. He's a leader, man. He's a leader, and he's a good businessman.
On Instagram, a wrestling historian at Let's Go Back to WCW wants to know, how did you see your feud with Jeff Jarrett playing out if you guys hadn't quit the WWF at In Your House 2?
Well, look, and I know this wouldn't have been good for him, but I'm sure they were going to put me over him, because you don't have that. I mean, maybe not the first match. Maybe we have a couple of matches, but at the end of the day, in the program, they put me over because I was the young upstart, and he was the heel that sang my song and kept me down. So you couldn't beat me too. You know what I mean? I don't think they were going to anyway. And so, look, that's not good for Jeff's creative direction, you know what I mean? Like, he sees it. Okay, like Jason Bayless just mentioned, you got Sid, you got Davey Boy, now you got Jeff, and Jeff's getting beat by the Roadie. You know what I mean? So I totally understand Jeff's creative frustrations at the time, and maybe rightfully so. You know what I mean? He saw himself as a bigger player, and look, he went to the other company and got bigger player money. So apparently other people saw him that way as well.
All right, I'm going to skip the next question and move to Robert Hughes at Robert Knight. I always wondered if Brian R.G. James had his high-tech boots custom painted white in this era, because he couldn't find them anywhere. So there's a unique question for you.
That was a unique question, and I love that question, because those were actual high-tech boots that I found on sale at a mall, literally in like Poughkeepsie, New, somewhere where we just went to a mall, and I found these at like a sporting goods store. And I said, how many how many 12s do you have? And they were like, we got 4. I bought all 4 of them and I shipped them home. And so I had those. It was the only time I ever saw black and white, but I thought, man, it was perfect. So no, they were not painted. They actually came that color in black and white. I don't know why. They were short-lived in production, but I grabbed a few pair, and kept them as the. I wish I still had them, to tell you the truth. I don't know what happened to them. Great
Dogg.
question.
It's another week, another time in life, and another moment of reflection. And we're going to reflect some more, because next week's going to get interesting, and hopefully it causes some debate, discourse, and discrepancies of opinion. Because next week we're going to be discussing the Mount Rushmore of tag teams.
Oh, are me and Billy on it?
I mean,
Probably not. We were not that good. I'm going to be honest with you.
You beat yourself up so much, man.
No, I'm just kidding. I know we were good at the time, you know what I mean? But when look, I always say when it comes to tag teams, like I'm old school. I love the Warriors. I love the Rock and Roll Express. I love the Midnight Express. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk different decades and all
teams,
time and all of that thing. Who's kicking ass today? Who you've seen that you think will have a chance of being one of those legends of the future? Should be a great discussion.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, Ryan, thank you so much for taking this trip with me every week. I appreciate you. I appreciate the listeners. I appreciate Steve Coffin and Dom behind the scenes making everything move forward. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
and,
throw Derek into the mix on that as well.
Derek, the researcher. So thank you so much for that. I think the researcher is his independent name. He works in Puerto Rico as the researcher. Derek, the researcher.
As we give
He's
the
from Green
thanks.
River. He's from the Green River Valley. That's cool. Derek, the researcher from Green River Valley.
As we wrap this up, I also want to remind people to check out boxofgimmicks.com for our show-specific T-shirts and merch. Go to Pro Wrestling Tees and look up Road Dogg for his personal shirts. Look up Ryan Katz for my shirts. Tell your friends, family, and followers to like, subscribe, share, rate, and comment so we can make this show grow. Oh, you didn't know.
And what else will make the show grow? Or maybe not the show. Nothing will be discreet about your package.
Dog.
You didn't know? We're week 8? Holy crap. I love you guys.